We're the largest snacking company in the world.
That everyone in the business is a leader and have a role to play.
So it just naturally made sense that, my career would progress.
And I wish someone had told me when I was in high school that that was an option.
It's all about maintaining relationships and
have such a wide array of academic backgrounds in the CCAS.
A strong network of women here to help you.
Well, hey guys, so today we are joined by Jacinta Ellen, who works for Bolton Clark. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So firstly, who are Bolton Clarks? For all those students and parents and career advisors out there who are thinking, who are Bolton Clark? Who are you guys and what do you do?
Well, we are one of Australia's largest aged care providers, and people up in Queensland and New South Wales might be more familiar with our previous name, which was RSL Care. And in Victoria, we were previously known as the Royal District Nursing Service, or RDNS. So people are often more familiar with those names. But in 2016, the two organisations merged to create this much larger organisation called Bolton Clark with over 6,500 staff. So it's a massive organisation, and we have a presence in Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, Tasmania, and even over in New Zealand and over in Asia as well. So we're certainly really big, aged care provider. So we have residential aged care facilities, and sometimes people are more familiar with the term nursing homes. So we have those up in Queensland and New South Wales. We have retirement living. So that's more for people that are looking at potentially downsizing, less maintenance, and so they move. We've got a big population that move into retirement living facilities. And we also, a really big part in particular in Victoria is our at-home support service. So we look after majority of people over the age of 65 years, delivering nursing and personal care services to people in their homes.
Well, I can imagine the last 18 months would have been a challenge, as it is for everybody, but just with the COVID situation and dealing with sort of that age group, it must have been a really crazy time for you guys.
Yeah, managing clients, very vulnerable people out in our community, and keeping our staff safe as well. We had to be very innovative and work really hard, to keep everybody safe. So it was certainly a massive year for us.
So
and continues to be.
Yeah, definitely. So why would you say it's so rewarding to work for Bolton Clark and particularly in aged care and at home care and things like that? Why is it so rewarding?
Yeah, for me in particular, I love caring for people that are older. I think that we can learn so much from people that have lived a life with their amazing stories, and I have such a healthy respect and just love that kind of work. I always grew up with a really healthy, respect for my grandparents, loved spending time with them, and that sort of followed on, out in the community, caring for people that are older, have lived very interesting and varied lives, and no 2 days are ever the same. Absolutely love it. Yeah,
that's right. I guess when you could be tossing up between jobs when you're at high school, and if you love caring for people, it could be the other end of the spectrum, working with young kids and children, or it could be sort of aged care. And let me tell you, working with kids is seriously hard work. I think I would rather be working with the aged population who have got stories to tell and you can have conversation with. Like, it would be so rewarding. I just think it would be such a beautiful job to be involved in.
Certainly. And that's one of the joys of nursing. There's so many ways you can go, and for some people it's maternity, where they love looking after mums and babies, and others it's pediatrics, looking after kids in hospital. For me, it's certainly aged care was going from working in a hospital and coming to community. It didn't feel like work, and that was a really good sign to know that I was in the right place. I thoroughly enjoyed it when I first came into that, and that was over 20 years ago. I haven't left, so that's testament to how much I love this work.
Yeah, absolutely. And so do you have to have a nursing background to work at Bolton Clark, or are there all different sort of roles?
There are so many roles in such a large organisation. We have a corporate office, so we have all of the corporate roles that you would see in lots of other organisations. So a finance department, IT department, in HR, we have, work health and safety team and a recruitment team, and I'm missing lots of other teams, but it's a big corporate organisation with so many opportunities. And then delivering care, we have personal care workers. You don't need a degree, but you do need to successfully complete Cert 3 in individual support to become a personal care worker. We have opportunities for enrolled nurses, and that is not a degree, but a diploma of nursing. We have opportunities for registered nurses, and that is a degree, Bachelor of Nursing. We have allied health opportunities. So we have physiotherapists and occupational therapists. We have social workers, allied health assistants. Oh yeah, we've got so many opportunities. It's they're the main roles that we do have in our organisation. There's some smaller roles as well.
Yeah.
We are really fortunate to have a research institute attached to our organisation. So there's even research opportunities. There's plenty of opportunities.
Yeah. And by the sounds of it, opportunities if you want to sort of come straight out of high school with just a more basic sort of qualification, and then some more opportunities if you go to university or do further studies as well. So there's lots of different pathways available.
Yeah, I mean, you look at residential aged care facilities, for example, we have catering teams. So it's, there's so many different opportunities. Yeah.
And I guess, and I guess with such a big organisation like Bolton Clark, if you got into the organisation and started working, and then you wanted to sort of expand in different areas, you'd be able to do that. Or you could go into state as well, because you're all over Australia. So it's a great opportunity to get in with such a big company and then grow from there as well.
Absolutely. So we've had staff in Victoria that have moved up to Queensland and have transitioned into roles up there, and vice versa, and New South Wales as well. But it also has given it an opportunity. My experience starting as a community nurse, so as I said, worked at the Alfred Hospital in Melbourne and had an amazing experience working there, and learnt so much about acutely unwell people. But to be then able to come out to community and really enjoy that work, but the opportunities that have then presented themselves from there. So 12 months later was managing a team, which was an amazing opportunity, and I enjoyed that. And there's project work that I've been able to do. We have our customer service centre, so the phone line, which was able to do that after I had babies, like when I was on coming back from mat leave, and took calls from clients that are out in the community looking for nursing advice, and new referrals coming through. That sort of thing was interesting. And then even moved into HR and did a completely different step away from nursing. So the opportunities that can present are certainly there in such a large organisation.
Yeah, absolutely. So looking back at high school, what subjects do you think that you studied at high school that helped you prepare for where you are now? You were always interested in nursing? Is that sort of an avenue you were always thinking of going down?
No, I'm not a typical, wanted to be a nurse since I was in kinder. I know there's so many, I speak to them, there's plenty of them here, absolutely. But I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do, but I knew what I enjoyed doing. So certainly working with people was something that I knew that I enjoyed. So it was, and also family influence. My older sister was a nurse at the time, and so I would hear all the stories about her experience in what she was doing, and thought that sounded quite interesting. And parents that were sort of very encouraging of it. And at the end of the day, I made that decision that I thought it might be something, but it wasn't until I was, really at the end of year 11, start of year 12, where I made that decision, and based subjects around that. And the subjects that certainly help are in nursing biology. Absolutely. You need to have those sorts of skills. Maths is something that comes in quite handy for nursing. You are responsible for doing drug calculations, so
you don't want to get that one wrong.
Yeah, believe it or not, you do use those funny things for all kinds of reasons.
Yes.
In nursing, and even English communication skills when you're managing people is really important. And psychology has come in really handy as well. And that was something that continued on through university, and it certainly helped in caring for clients, but now also managing people. That sort of background has come in really handy.
Yeah, absolutely. And then what sort of personal attributes do you think that you have that's helped you succeed in your career?
Probably a bit of grit and determination. Really goes a long way. There's not everything is smooth sailing and happy days. In particularly with health things, very early on when I was in my graduate year, I was looking after people that were very unwell, and realised what was important in life and prioritising. So, and with that comes you need persistence, you need grit, you need some resilience.
You need to be able to put on a happy face every time you come to work, and that would be hard some days, but you're that support person for the people that need you,
Absolutely. Yeah, sometimes your heart can be breaking with the scenario. You might be looking after somebody that is not receiving good news, and you're there to support them. You're not there to cry. Sometimes you might shed a tear with them at the time, but it's not. Your job is to support the people that you're caring for. It's not about you. So those skills are really important to have in nursing, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And what would you say gives you the most satisfaction in your role at the moment?
In my role at the moment, one of the best things I love seeing, and it's because I'm looking after the staff, is seeing staff such as graduates come through who, when they first start at the organisation, are very nervous and overwhelmed, and it's their first real job, and seeing it when they come through and just managing and supporting them, and then seeing them going on to bigger and better things is one of the biggest buzzes I can get. Just seeing them going off into management roles and all kind of, going off into different, that makes me, really, really happy and very satisfied, for sure.
Yeah, awesome. And what would you say your biggest achievement has been in your career so far?
Probably, as we were mentioning before about COVID, working through that period was tough. Yeah, we had to make a lot of really quick decisions as a team. And we did that really well. We sort of relied on each other, and when things were really hard and tough, we sort of, we'd acknowledge that in one another, and we'd just sort of go, come on, we can do this, and trying to put things into place when there was so much unknown. And we've got a little bit more understanding of what's happening now, and it has certainly settled down, but we were creating new roles that we hadn't had in the organisation, and shifted the way we did job interviews, for example. It went online. The way we orientated new staff, so instead of staff coming and doing orientation at site, we were doing that via Teams, Microsoft Teams. So to be able to twist all of that and manage that and stay afloat, that was a pretty massive achievement, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. What advice would you give students out there who are listening right now, who are in high school? What advice do you wish you received when you were at high school? My advice would be, don't panic if you're not quite sure what you want to do. Certainly in my time deciding to go into nursing, it has opened up so many opportunities to do so many different things. So sometimes people think you're a nurse, you work in a hospital. As a nurse, I've worked in the hospital. I've worked looking after cancer patients. I've worked in trauma units. I've worked in community. I've worked in project work. I've worked in HR and management opportunities. So customer service line on phone calls. So I would say, don't panic if you're not quite sure. Go with your heart. Remind yourself of what you enjoyed when you were a kid, and that was, for me, it was certainly time spent with my grandparents, and they are some of the happiest memories I still have today. And
it's certainly, yeah, just doing that work. I love listening to their stories. I loved, I don't know, for me, that was certainly, that's where I found my calling. And as I said, when I first started this role in aged care, I remember just thinking, I can't believe I'm getting paid for this. You know, like that's how much I loved it. And, you know, don't tell my manager, but this is how I'm feeling right now. Like so, you know, don't put so much pressure on yourself that you have to decide, and you know, it is what it is. You can, you know, and even if you don't get where you're wanting to go, so you're thinking that you might want to, I don't know, be a registered nurse, and you mightn't get the marks to get into that, but there are stepping stones, and it's not the be all and end all. And are working as personal care workers, and then they've gone on to do their Bachelor of Nursing down the track, because that's what they still really wanted to do, and there were opportunities to be able to do that as they got a little bit older. So don't give up if it's
There's always a pathway, isn't there? And
always a pathway, and if you find that you're in something, there's so many options. Don't think that you've got yourself stuck.
Well, Bolton Clark definitely seems like an awesome company to work for. So if students are listening and they would like to learn more, where should they head?
Best to head to our website, which is www.boltonclark.com.au, and you'll see lots of information about the services that we provide, and where we do that, and career opportunities as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Jacinta. It was great to hear about your career journey so far and why it's so awesome working in aged care.
Excellent. Thanks, Rebecca.